official at the Pentagon disclosed that one of the top concerns among UFO investigators is, quote, intelligent or extraterrestrial technical supremacy. Newly appointed director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, Dr. Sean Patrick, told ABC News in an exclusive interview set to air tonight that more than 800 mysterious sightings have been reported spanning decades and are being analyzed by the military. Patrick further added that a government-wide data collection initiative has been established to investigate hundreds of sightings. If Congress has its way, the Pentagon will have to make this information available to the public, which would likely be welcomed by many.
Now, last year, documentary filmmaker and UFO enthusiast Jeremy Corbel went on Joe Rogan's podcast where he argued for the government to declassify UAP-related information and footage it has. Here's a bit of that interview.
You want to know something that's even more frustrating is, you know, the gimbal footage that's become real popular, looks like the Lazar thing with two plates. There's 4 more minutes of that footage. There's a whole fleet of them. They look a little different than that object. But if the pilots, like Ryan Graves is good friends with the guy that actually filmed that, and like that object actually moved back on itself. And there was a fleet of them. There was other objects around it. There's 4 more minutes of that footage. It's all classified. Fucking release it. Why wouldn't you show that? When Congress is asking for the best of the best, they just swamp gas you one piece of footage I released? What the f***? They should show that footage.
I mean, at a certain point, it is hard to refute this kind of a claim. And the why not just show me more? Why not show me the rest? Why not? This comes up a lot when there's these RFK Jr. discussions about vaccines and the like, where he'll often say something like, I'm not against childhood vaccines, but I do think there needs to be more investigation. To a lot of people's ear, that's like, well, why not? Why not do more research? Why not try to ensure safety? As long as you're not denying the health benefits of vaccination programs for kids and the like, well then, you know, why not? And so here, at a certain point, if there are enough people clamoring, why not release the tape? The onus does really feel like it's on the government not to just to go ahead and disclose whatever it is they have. And absent doing so, there is this presumption that attaches that there's something that they're trying to hide that would be of the public interest.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's what I said earlier, that we don't have enough trust in them to know that if they're keeping something secret, it's really because we can't know about it, or it's to jeopardize his national security, because they cite national security for everything. They redact all sorts of information. They're slow to respond to public records requests. When they do respond, you don't actually get the information you want. I think earlier I described it as a boy who cried wolf situation, where we wouldn't, if there was really something that a true you can't handle the truth situation, I'm not sure we would trust them to be fair about that.
Yeah. I mean, what do you make of this technological supremacy concern? I mean, we talked in an earlier segment about some of the evidence that people are grasping onto, being that the shapes that are observed are moving in ways that suggest
right.
our craft couldn't survive.
We hear violate the rules of physics.
The G-forces, right? Like there has to be some superior technology that could do what these ships are doing. You know, is that compelling to you?
I mean, the most obvious reason that the government would keep hidden information is because it is our technology, and they don't want the American people or foreign powers to know about it. So
that's what they've been doing with that missing Pentagon budget year after year. All those failed audits.
Burying the craft that we've designed underground.
Also, like just paying to design these crafts.
Yeah.
Paying for all of that R&D that they don't want on the books. It's an argument.
Yeah. I mean, do you think if it was foreign technology, they would want to reveal it to scare the public into supporting bigger defense budgets?
I think that they might.
Right.
I mean, the space race was the space race.
Yeah.
There was.
I mean, if it was aliens, that would be the ultimate way to scare people into supporting a giant defense budget, I guess.
Yes, but then they also have to make the argument that the aliens are, in fact, malignant.
I don't think it would take a lot,
I've said this before.
A large leap. I mean, if you're rationalizing their behavior only from what makes sense for them, maximizing their budget and U.S. citizenry interest in expansive science technology,
depends on who you talk to.
The best reason for keeping everything hidden is if it is actually our technology.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't mean to make Star Trek a model for everything, but we've definitely seen as plot points in sci-fi the notion that, friendly ETs, benevolent interactions are exploited by either other groups of aliens or humans on Earth who have their own political goals. And I wouldn't put it past any government, including ours, to do something like that. But I do think there's so much negative sci-fi, and part of why I do love Star Trek so much is because there are these presumptions that when we meet, it's a good thing, that there's a sharing of science and technology and medicine that makes both of our communities better, that they might not reach out to us until we've reached a certain level of advancement because otherwise they endanger themselves by exposing themselves to us. But, I don't know. I do think that we have to be clear. We don't know if these people are even cognitively sentient in the same way that we are. Are they people that we can communicate with? Are they people? Is like
it would
not
be good.
The term to use.
So there's two scenarios.
Yeah.
It would be good for humanity, for our flourishing, to interact with another civilization in a way that allows us to share technology and profit from trade and science and all the ways we generally life has improved, not everywhere, not perfectly, but by having not having an autarky where you're shut off, North Korea style economics and political system is not as good as having a free flow of goods and technology and information. That would be the good scenario. Obviously, sometimes when civilizations meet for the first time, if we're just referencing our own history, the discovery of the Americas, obviously they were already there. There were people living in them who all got wiped out. And in some cases on purpose, in some cases not exactly on purpose, but just because of the disease overlap happened to, and there were diseases that spread to the Europeans and some of them killed, but it was so lopsided for just kind of a quirk of fate that is really concerning to me. I don't want
fate, intentional distribution of smallpox.
Some of it was intentional,
blankets,
but
sure.
Some of it was intentional, but
mass hunting of the food, the buffalo that were the primary resource for Native Americans.
That the Americans were more susceptible to European diseases than Europeans were to American diseases. Yeah. Just like these are the Guns, Germs, and Steel book, right? It's an accident of fate that the animals there are no horses in North America, that all the animals for farming and ranching or for transportation were all concentrated along the European, Indo-European through Caucasus, through, the Far East, through China belt of human civilization that made all those places better off. I'm just, maybe it's better if they don't find us and we don't find them.
Sure. Well, here's some of what Congressman Tim Burchett had to say about the upcoming hearing on UAPs. Let's watch that.
Believe in UFOs and believe in Congress. I mean, look at the polling that's out now. 55, 58, depends on who you talk to. They believe there's something else out there, and these are legitimate polls. I've stopped every weekend. I'm back in Knoxville. Man, I'm talking about educated people, professional people. I'm on airplanes. I'm traveling all over the country. People will stop me and tell me about an experience. Decorated veterans. These people, why would they risk their reputations and careers over something that they're lying about? It's too big right now, and I don't believe they can keep their thumb in the dam too much longer because people are coming forward at too rapid of a rate.
I think that's a good argument. However, it is also true that if someone had a personal interest in the story being out, whether it's because it's a distraction from other news or whatever, there's plenty of money on the right to make it worth anybody's while. I'm not making allegations. I don't think that's the case. There's no evidence for that. I'm just saying that argument only takes you so far. And I say this as someone who's a left independent media content creator. And the way that we look so enviously over at the libertarian conferences that get funded and the money that's sloshing around and the PragerU's and all of this. There aren't millionaires and billionaires that are trying to fund independent left media outlets that are arguing every day that we should tax millionaires and billionaires, right? There's a conflict of interest that makes it much...
Omidyar?
Yeah, there's a handful. And he's not funding, I hate to break it to you,
Steve
Crowder style, and it ended up being a conflict of interest that ultimately drove Glenn Greenwald away. So you can point to Pierre Omidyar, and I can point to the entire right-wing news outlet. But this isn't a criticism. I mean, it is a criticism because I believe that there's a corrupting influence of money in both media and politics. But I'm not saying that as I'm not trying to hit anybody right now. I'm just pointing out that there's so much money on the right. Like, there's so much money. You fly off every weekend to some conference. I've never seen a leftist conference. There's never been one. So, like, it's just there's so much money. And that's not leftist. That's neoliberal. There's lots of money.
Well, I would say
in
that
neoliberal
all
as well.
those right conferences aren't libertarian. They're right world things.
Sure, but the Libertarian Party dramatically outfunds the Green Party. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
there's just
slightly
so much
larger party.
And it's a compliment. Like, you have a lot more. You do better fundraising, and it's easier for you to do the fundraising because you don't forego corporate dollars and you don't swear that kind of stuff off. But you also just have a lot more money, and that's all I'm saying is that there's just so many resources that exist. If someone wanted to do that, that's all I'm saying.
I don't have a lot of billionaires funding me. I wish I did, but I don't. You're right. I wouldn't object to it, but I don't. So, more Rising right after this.